So, the Philadelphia Eagles are about to play an opponent for the second time on the season. According to Jimmy Johnson, this is supposed to be that hook, right? Now we're going to see a team counterpunch now that it has a feel for us. Let's talk for a little bit. What's up, Cerebral Football fans? My name is Steven Hyder. This is Gate City Sports Channel. Hey, if you're new to the channel, maybe the first, second, third time you caught my content and you enjoyed today's discussion. Look, we're on a journey. We're on a path. We just crossed over 6,600 subscribers. We're headed towards 7,500 subscribers. I would love for you to join the Cerebral Football community. I just need you to hit that subscribe button to do that. To my OG subscribers, hat in hand here, guys, I'm here to ask you a favor. Hit that thumbs up button, smash the like button, help me spike this algorithm and get this in front of new people that we could potentially convert into our little audience here on the YouTube. All right, y'all, today's topic. I want to talk about this Washington Commanders Philadelphia Eagles football game because there's a lot of chatter kind of around this game. And I think a lot of people are kind of looking to try to figure out who's going to be that team that pushes the Eagles, who's going to be that team that really makes it hard on the Philadelphia Eagles to win a ball game. I mean, because we watch the Eagles, we know that we've been pushed a couple times this season, believe it or not. I mean, you know, look, Jacksonville had us down 14 points. Jacksonville had us down 14 points in the rain on the road. I mean, that was a major challenge. Like, you know, that's a tough one because Jacksonville was a visiting football team and had us down 14 in the rain. Not exactly the best elements to try to mount a comeback through the air. On top of that, you know, we had a game against Arizona where, yes, clearly we were the better football team, and you could feel that flow throughout the game that we were better than the Cardinals. But nonetheless, we hadn't won in Arizona in a very long time. It was over 20 years since our last victory in Arizona. We were on the road, and I'll tell you what, they made a push in the fourth quarter to at least tie that game and send it into overtime, but they missed the opportunity on that. So I get that whole narrative is a little flawed from Jimmy Johnson, and it's from people who really aren't considering the full circumstances of the season. With that said, I also get the other side of the argument here from guys like Jimmy Johnson that it is true. It's one thing for everyone to say, like, yeah, you're 8 games in, there's plenty of film on you. If you can stop this offense, then get out there and stop it, because nobody has yet. That's true, but I'll also speak to the side of me being a former coach, you know, me working inside of, like, advanced scouting myself. I'll tell you this right from the jump. It is different from a film study to actually seeing that offense one time around, right? I mean, there's a difference in terms of gaining the feel for what that team does in situations. It's one thing to see it on film, and that is important. It's one thing to know their tendencies and to be able to break down these advanced analytics behind their play. But it's another thing to actually see the fight up close and personal and get a second shot at it. That part, totally agree with. This is probably going to be a much closer game than a lot of people suspect. That said, talent wins. Talent wins. I'm not knocking the Washington Commanders because this is a better football team than their record would indicate. I think a lot of us were a little shocked that they're 4-5 because it was like, okay, this team theoretically should be better than this. The roster is better than that record. But nonetheless, there was a big gap between that team and our team, and that offensive line did not hold up against us. So, key number one, I'm going to give you what I would do personally. You know, being an Eagles fan, if I was on the opposite side here, if I was on the opposition side, what would I look to in order to, like, slow this game down? I would try to force Philadelphia into that 52, package. I talked about it. It's the Eagles' best run support package with Jordan Davis out. The reason being is although we'd like to play a lot of 51, that's only committing a guaranteed 6-man box, right? Now, you can walk down a safety, you can walk down the corner, you can walk down a nickel corner, you can commit a 7th guy, you could even commit 8 if you walk 2 guys down, right? But if you go to a 52, you're guaranteeing 7 guys in the box, and then you can walk down an extra player to commit that 8th player. If I'm Washington, I would like to have the Philadelphia Eagles commit that type of effort to stopping our run in order to then see if I can't get something going on the outside through some play action, through some boots, rolling that pocket, trying to get guys like Terry McLaurin an opportunity, trying to get guys like Jahan Dotson an opportunity, Curtis Samuel an opportunity. Because truth be told, Washington does have some offensive weapons, right? I don't love their tight end play. I think their tight end play has dealt with some injuries throughout the year, and I don't love where it's at currently. But I will say that on the outside, in terms of the wide receiver play, there are some guys out there who can make plays if you get them rolling. So, if I'm looking at this, I'm looking at like, hey, man, I need to get this team into a 52 front. I need to try to see if we can get something going with our offensive line to get a little push there against that D line, especially with Jordan Davis out. Let's take our opportunity to try to move them off the ball. And let's see them commit to stopping the run and see if we can't work off of that, right? Let me see if I can't get Robinson going and get him some touches, right? Let me see what I can't get with Antonio Gibson. You got guys who can play a little bit. They can catch the ball out of the backfield, right? They can run between the tackles. You got a couple of backs there. But here's the key thing. What are the Eagles really good at? Creating turnovers. We are very, very good at creating turnovers. And as much as I was a fan of Gibson coming out of college, you guys know if you've been following me for a while, man, I really, really wanted the Eagles to draft Gibson. I thought that he was a very, very unique tool. And I still think that he's a good player. I just think he's maybe not on the most creative staff there in Washington. I think there are better ways of utilizing him than just as a true running back. With that said, Gibson will put the ball on the turf, and this is a very opportunistic defense. So I'm going to say it right from the jump. One of the main battles that I don't think is being talked about is, can Washington force the Eagles into committing 7 to 8 guys in the box to stop the run? And can the Eagles create turnovers? Because that's been our MO. We can create turnovers. We can put you in a really, really compromising situation, right? We'll give you the 20s to 20s, but if you can't put points on the board and you don't protect the football, we are going to hurt you when you drive across the 50. That's what Gannon has done well as a coach. That's what his team has done well inside of games. They have created opportunities, right? Even if you're driving the ball, even if you're gaining yardage, somehow, some way, this team just seems to keep teams under 20 points. For all the things that we're saying about Jonathan Gannon, and some of it is rightful criticism, I will say the one thing I will say about Gannon is this, guys. He ain't giving up 20 points very often. I think he's got a 7-game streak right now. And I know you can say, well, he did give up like 21 to Jacksonville. Steve's like, yeah, but one of those was through a pick 6. So it wasn't the defense surrendering those points. This is going to be an interesting game, guys. I'm very curious to see how this matches up. Now, the other thing I will say is our offense is explosive. I do wonder whether or not we can get some traction against that run D in Washington, because they got 2 guys in the interior that can absolutely play football. Jonathan Allen can play, man. He's a bit of a problem. I'm not going to lie to you. Deron Payne can play. They got some edge guys that have talent, although I don't think the production has been what people thought it would be just a couple of years ago. I'm not trying to take shots at Chase Young, but there's a lot of talent there. I don't know the production has matched past that rookie season, to be quite honest. So with that said, what can the Eagles do offensively? Because, if I'm Washington, I'm trying to keep your offense off the field as much as I possibly can. I'm trying to turn this into like a road ground, kind of ground it. Try to make this a tough thing for you guys. Try to control the clock on you. Try to make sure I do not turn the football over, because if you start turning the ball over, we're going to put up 30 on you. There's just no doubt about it. You turn the ball over, you're getting a 30 hung on you with this team. If I'm Washington, that's what I'm looking at. So if I'm the Eagles, here's the key. You got to execute. Execute. Cool. We don't need to go on 10, 15 play drives that take 8 minutes up. We can do it. That's what we want to do in the second half of these games. That's what we're going to do in the fourth quarter on you. But we can also put up points in about a 2-minute drive on you. Apply pressure, right? Make it tough to where you can have an 8-minute drive. But if you don't put points on the board and we get the ball back and we score in 2 minutes, you're going to feel the pressure eventually when you start going down more than 2 possessions. That's the key here, guys, is that I think I got a good feeling that Washington's going to come out and try to test us in the run game and try to work off of boot and play action type stuff on us. That's what I would do at least. I mean, I can't speak. I'm not on their staff, but common sense wise, hey man, I'm trying to get out there and be sticky in coverage against this team, defensively against them, and hold the interior line. Because if you can't hold that, it won't matter anyways, because they're going to put 30 on you, and we just probably don't have the offensive output to match that kind of, that kind of game flow. That's what I think is coming up here. But leave your comments down below. Let me know your insights. What do you think? The last time I heard is Cole Holcomb might be out for them, and that's kind of a big loss for them, to be quite honest. I haven't checked the recent reports. I don't know if he practiced today or yesterday. If you guys know that intel, I'd appreciate it if you leave it in the comment section. Let me know what you found about Holcomb. Is he going to play on Monday night or not? This is going to be an interesting game, guys. This is the second time around. Everybody keeps talking about that. That's a big to-do. Second time around. Can you win when it's the second time you see this opponent? I think we're still going to win the football game. I just think it might be a little bit more closely contested than what we want. But with that said, if it's another double-digit win, and this is the second time a team has played us, this is a team that is not, they're not horrible defensively. I'm not going to call them a great defense, because they're not a great defense, but they've got elements to that defense that can play. Gets harder and harder, man, to keep making these excuses if the Eagles just keep throwing up W's. That's just the facts. All right, y'all. I appreciate y'all's time and attention. I'll see y'all in the next video.